Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we diving deep into one of the most pivotal and controversial events of the 20th century, the Cuban Revolution. How did a small island nation manage to defy a global superpower just 90 miles from its coast? What were the forces that led to this dramatic upheaval? Let's unravel the story. To understand the revolution, we have to go back to the early 1900s. After gaining independence from Spain, Cuba fell heavily under the influence of the United States. American businesses controlled vast sugar plantations, hotels, and casinos, creating an economy that benefited a wealthy elite and foreign investors, while the majority of Cubans faced poverty, illiteracy, and limited opportunities. This deep-seated inequality and foreign dominance created a fertile ground for discontent. Enter Fulgencio Batista. He was a key figure in Cuban politics for decades, and in 1952, he seized power in a military coup, canceling the upcoming elections. His rule became increasingly repressive and corrupt. While Havana was a glittering playground for tourists and the mob, dissent was brutally crushed. This authoritarian regime pushed many Cubans, including a young lawyer named Fidel Castro, to believe that armed struggle was the only path to change. On July 26, 1953, Castro led a daring but ultimately disastrous attack on the Moncada barracks in Santiago de Cuba. Although it failed and he was imprisoned, his famous "History Will Absolve Me" speech during his trial became a manifesto for the revolution. He laid out a vision for a new Cuba, free from foreign control and dedicated to social justice. This event, despite its failure, marked the symbolic start of the revolutionary movement. After being granted amnesty, Castro was exiled to Mexico. There, he organized a group of rebels, including his brother Raul and a charismatic Argentine doctor named Ernesto C. Che Guevara. They trained, gathered weapons, and planned their return. In December 1956, 82 revolutionaries sailed from Mexico aboard a small, overcrowded yacht called the Granma. Their landing in Cuba was a near disaster. Spotted by Batista's forces, they were ambushed, and only about 20 of the original group, including Fidel, Raul, and CHE, managed to escape into the rugged Sierra Maestra Mountains. From this seemingly hopeless position, the rebels began to build their movement. In the mountains, they waged a brilliant guerrilla campaign. They weren't just fighting, they were winning hearts and minds. They established schools and clinics for the impoverished local farmers, treating them with respect and demonstrating their commitment to social reform. CHE Guevara's and Camilo Cienfuegos's military leadership proved crucial, employing hit-and-run tactics that frustrated Batista's larger, but less motivated, army. Their message of land reform and national sovereignty resonated deeply with the rural population, and their ranks began to swell with new recruits. Meanwhile, in the cities, an underground resistance movement was also at work. Students, workers, and intellectuals organized strikes, sabotage, and propaganda campaigns, further destabilizing Batista's regime. The government's brutal response, which included public executions and widespread torture, only turned more people against them. International opinion also began to shift. The United States, once a staunch supporter of Batista, grew wary of his brutality and the instability it was causing. In 1958, Washington imposed an arms embargo on his government, a critical blow that demoralized the Cuban army. The final push came in late 1958, under the command of CHE Guevara and Camilo Cienfuegos. Rebel columns marched out of the Sierra Maestra, splitting the island in two. The pivotal moment was the Battle of Santa Clara. Guevara's forces, though heavily outnumbered, managed to derail an armored train carrying reinforcements and capture the city. This stunning victory completely shattered the morale of Batista's army. with the rebels closing in on Havana and realizing his support had crumbled completely, Fulgencio Batista fled the country in the early hours of January 1st, 1959. He took with him a personal fortune, leaving behind a power vacuum. The next day, rebel forces entered Santiago de Cuba, and on January 8th, Fidel Castro and his triumphant guerrillas marched into Havana, greeted by massive, cheering crowds. The revolution was victorious. In the immediate aftermath, the new government implemented radical changes. They launched a massive literacy campaign that dramatically reduced illiteracy in just 1 year. Healthcare was made free and accessible to all, and land reform laws were passed, breaking up large estates and redistributing land to peasants. These moves were incredibly popular within Cuba. However, the revolution's relationship with the United States quickly soured when Castro's government began nationalizing American-owned businesses and properties. The Eisenhower administration responded with economic sanctions. This pushed Cuba closer to the Soviet Union, which was eager for a Cold War ally in the Western Hemisphere. By 1961, Cuba had officially declared itself a socialist state, setting the stage for decades of confrontation with the U.S., including the Bay of Pigs invasion and the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Cuban Revolution remains a complex and polarizing topic. For some, it represents a heroic struggle for national liberation and social justice, a model of resistance against imperialism. For others, it's a story of a dream betrayed, leading to an authoritarian state that suppressed political freedoms. But regardless of your perspective, its impact on Cuba, Latin America, and the world is undeniable. It was a moment that reshaped the map of the Cold War and continues to spark debate and fascination to this day. What do you think? What is the most significant legacy of the Cuban Revolution? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more deep dives into history. We'll see you in the next one.